Welcome to my channel, where I dive into some of the most fascinating and infuriating stories from the internet's most popular subreddit. Today, we're going to explore the world of moral dilemmas, questionable decisions, and the age-old question: am I the asshole? Am I the butthole flatmate wants his GF to stay with us for 3 months, with exclusive use of the living room? A bit of a backstory: my friend Bob, 24 male, and I, 28 male, became friends in uni, and when we graduated, we decided to move to another city for our jobs. Luckily, one of our friends' mom owned a 2-bed flat and agreed for us to move in at a discounted rent, 23 of the general rent in that area. At the start, we agreed that I will set up the Wi-Fi and the council tax, and he will set up the energy. I got the Wi-Fi set up before we moved in and council tax soon after. Bob did not set up the energy, and we still have not paid anything towards it. He claims the energy people are hard to deal with. When we were moving, Bob asked if he could get the bigger room as his girlfriend might visit, who stayed 2 hours away, so it would make sense for him to get it. I agreed. We are friends after all. 6 months ago, Anne moved into a flat 5 minutes from us, and I started dating Sarah, 26 female, who lives in another city. Bob began staying at Anne's place most nights, 57 days a week, and used that as an excuse to stop cleaning, buying shared household items, or contributing to upkeep. My girlfriend visits 2-3 weekends a month, and I clean before she arrives. Bob occasionally cooks, but leaves dishes behind for me to deal with. This brings us to the current situation. Anne's flatmate has decided to move out in April. Anne cannot afford the flat on her own. I suggested to Bob that he can move in with Anne. He said no, it's too soon, they have only been dating for 2 years. Each their own. Last week, Bob asks me if Anne can live in our flat for 3 months, April, June, as she is going traveling in July for 3 months until she goes traveling. I said I am more than happy to let her stay without paying anything, and I told Bob that. Bob has just registered with the energy company, and they sent him an invoice of $1,300 in overdue fees. We decided to pay $100 towards it to pay it off. Now he says to me that Anne will pay $150 towards the energy debt, and this is him doing me a favor. I told him if anyone's doing anyone a favor, it's me doing a favor for Anne, and secondly, I am not going to see any of that $150, so it does not matter to me if she pays or does not pay. Now, Bob says Sarah can't stay over on weekdays because Anne would feel uncomfortable, even though Anne and Sarah get along. I believe it's actually Bob who dislikes having people around. I told him that's an unreasonable condition, and I won't agree. As a paying tenant, I can have visitors, and since Anne isn't paying rent, she has no say in how I use my home. If she's uncomfortable, she shouldn't move in. Bob and Anne are used to having full control of Anne's flat since her flatmate never comes out. I think they expect the same setup here, which is absurd given that Anne is only paying Bob, not me. Even if she were paying a fair share, she wouldn't get exclusive rights to the common areas. Am I the butthole for refusing this? Additionally, any help in how to handle this situation would be highly appreciated. Now let's check out some of the comments on this post. Not the butthole. Refuse all long-term guests unless they are on the lease. Bob also needs to get current with the energy company, or you'll likely see that shut off soon. It's time you had a sit down with Bob and told him that this living situation isn't working out. He needs to move into a place with Anne, or you need to move out. I know leaving cheap rent is hard, and if you make a solid case to the friend's mom that owns the place for being the better tenant, you might stand a good chance of having Bob removed from the lease, and either finding a better roommate or having Sarah move in. This is a perfect example of why living with friends isn't always all it's cracked up to be. Between him not cleaning, leaving you his messes, not setting up his side of the bills, and now the demands from his chi, it's time you two part ways. If you can shut him off the Wi-Fi until the energy bill is squared away, I'd suggest you do it. Here's the response from OP. That's another thing. All of these conversations are done on messages. If we are having an argument, he would just stay at his GFS, or just ignores me. I am on really good terms with the landlady, as I am the one who usually takes care of any repairs or reports any issues with the flat. So at some point I'm thinking of speaking to the landlady about all this. I was doing him a favor, having his GF stay, as she could not afford the other flat on her own. But really, it's not my problem. This is the biggest takeaway. If you were a better roommate, I'd feel differently about it. but his actions are speaking pretty loud here and there, enough slights that I wouldn't be inclined to bend over backwards to help him. Set some firm ground rules, know what the lease says about guests, and if the energy company comes for you both, make sure you have screenshots of the messages agreements discussion of him. Setting that up, and you asking why it hasn't happened. While it's fair to pay your half of an actual bill, and late fees or penalties should be on him. Unfortunately, Bob has shown he's not really a friend. Bob's girlfriend should pay rent. And now for the next story. Am I the butthole? My friend wants to travel with me, but didn't book her flight for 6 weeks. I'm visiting my sister studying abroad in Italy for a week. It's been 6 weeks since I booked my flights and decided dates. When I first booked, I asked some friends if they wanted to come double with me. Most friends politely declined, but one of my friends, Michaela, said she might be in for the trip, but had to figure some money stuff out before deciding. I was fine with that as we had time. I knew Michaela for a year before this. I wasn't sure how serious she was, but I was down to discuss traveling TG. The last 6 weeks since I booked, I've been checking in Michaela a few times a week, re the status of her bookings. She kept saying that she is coming and even talked about specific things we could do there. However, she kept putting off actually booking anything. A month ago, she told me she needed a few days, and she would know 100% if she was coming. A week later, she told me she could not come due to issues with getting paid at work. Then 2 weeks ago, she said she's back in again. I was happy to have her back in. But still, as of today, she hasn't booked any flights or stay. BC, the trip is now 2 weeks away, and she still hasn't booked anything. I messaged her yesterday morning, asking her status at being ready to book things. I said I was feeling nervous that it was so last minute. She responded that she needs until Friday to decide if she's coming, and if so, we could book everything by Monday. BTOU, the Monday she's referring to is the Monday the week before the trip. I hesitated, but I said okay. You have till Friday. Later last night I thought about it all, and made a decision. I told Michaela that it might just be better if I go alone. I said that I'm going there to see my sister, and she could accommodate me, and that it would be better for my wallet than booking Airbnbs with her. Times are tough. I expected that she would be fine with me saying this since she hadn't booked anything yet, and hadn't even decided whether she wanted to go. Michaela was very upset by me saying I'm going to go solo, and said it was weird of me to bring this up now, and fecked up that I told her earlier in the day that it was okay for her to decide until Friday, and then changed my mind. Enjoy. But my position is that I waited 6 weeks for her to book the trip. How is she going to be mad at me for not waiting 3 more days? She's acting like a victim. I know. Oh. She said it seems like I don't want her to go, but it feels like she's not serious about going, because she hasn't booked a single thing to commit to this trip. So after this conversation, which didn't go great, she unfollowed me on Instagram and removed the photos of us. Am I the butthole? And now for the next story. Am I the butthole? My husband made himself a frozen meal for lunch and complained it was disgusting and threw it away. I felt bad, and I offered to let him have one that I'd been saving for myself, only to discover that what he had thrown away was my lunch. I then got upset at him and told me to pick a lane. So, every now and then I buy a random frozen meal to keep on hand for lunch emergencies. I had one in the freezer for a month. My husband saw it a few weeks ago and asked if that was his, because he can't remember anything he buys or adds to the grocery list. And I said, no, that's mine. Fast forward to yesterday. I hear him nuking something in the kitchen. Then he loudly declares it's absolutely disgusting, tosses it down the sink, and starts whining about not having lunch. I hadn't eaten that frozen meal, and I did not think I would need it this week. So I thought, well, if I let him have it, he'll have something to eat, and he'll just grab another one next time I'm at the store. I offer him the meal I was saving. He asks which one. I say the white bean chicken chili. He goes, that's what I just threw away. Cue my rage. Wait, you took my lunch without asking and then threw it away when you didn't like it? He says, you wouldn't have liked it. It was completely different from chili. I'm like, yeah, I know. It's white bean chicken chili. It's not supposed to be like regular chili. That's why I bought it. His response? Well, it was disgusting. I said, you didn't even check what it was, didn't remember it was mine, and when you didn't like it, You threw it away instead of asking me about it. He goes, but you offered it to me. I reply, yeah, I offered it because I thought you had nothing else. But now that I know you just grabbed my meal without asking, and didn't even eat it and threw it out instead, and did not even ask if I wanted it when you decided you were not going to eat it, I'm a little pissed. He then got mad and started telling me I was setting him up, that no matter what he did, he was wrong, and I was being unreasonable. He told me to pick a lane. I tried to explain why I was mad and said, imagine you heard me complaining about something I recently bought, and I decided I didn't like it, so I just threw it away. Then, you have this gift card you've been saving for yourself, and you say, you know, I was saving this for myself, but since you already spent your money on something you didn't like, you can have my gift card to buy something better. So, I go, oh, well thanks, but I already used your gift card to buy the thing I didn't like, and threw away. I saw it lying on the counter, so I just used it. My question is, am I the butthole because I got mad at him after I discovered he ate, took my lunch, and then threw it away, even though there was a brief moment where he appeared to have nothing to eat for lunch, so I offered him mine. Now let's check out some of the comments on this post. Not the butthole. I was infuriated on your behalf. He asked if it was his. You told him it was yours. He went and cooked it anyway, didn't like it and was wasteful, not even bothering to offer it to you. Once he realized he obviously heated up something he wouldn't have bought for himself. I too was pissed on her behalf. Oof, yes. Strong narcissist and entitlement vibes with this guy. OP. Is Obs not the butthole? He then got mad and started telling me that I was setting him up. Projection nutch? Not the butthole. He can't remember anything he buys or adds to the grocery list. Yes, he can. It's just easier to expect you to do it. Yeah, that's got real. How could you let me try to eat something I wouldn't like? Energy? I'm barely willing to take that from my dog. I certainly wouldn't take it from a spouse. Like and subscribe for more awesome daily Reddit content. And don't forget to hit the bell to get notified when I upload new videos.